Welcome to English 9, Judging the Validity of the Evidence, Lesson 2, Part 1, Quarter 3, Week 6. I'm Mr. Nelson Sambalod and I'm your teacher for this course. For this week's most essential learning competency, we have Judge the Validity of the Evidence, Lesson 2. For the enabling competency, Interpret the Information, Lesson 2. This lesson is divided into three parts. The first part will help you interpret the information in the material you listen to. Let's deal with the first part. It's all about listening. Listening is very important in our everyday living since it is when we listen that we are able to give feedback or respond accordingly. There are two types of listening, passive and active. Passive listening is when you hear someone or something without paying full attention, while active listening is when you fully focus and understand the message of what is being said or listened to. In the images that you can see, which do you think best represents passive listening? Again, passive listening is when you hear someone or something without paying full attention, while the active listening is when you fully focus and understand the message of what is being said or listened to. So, which do you think best represents active listening? Look again at the images. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, for passive listening, we are going to have the image talking about or having the words keep calm and carry on. Because whenever you do the passive listening, you just listen and you just go on without reacting to what is being said. You just keep on absorbing what is being said to you. You just carry on. You just carry on with the ideas that are being bombarded to you by the speaker. Well, the second image, you have there the words receiving, understanding, remembering, evaluating, leading to feedback. So, if that is the experience of you whenever you are listening, then you are experiencing the so-called active listening. Okay? So as we go on talking about our lesson for this week, the more you will understand what is passive listening and active listening. Read the two conversations below. Which dialogue will you most likely believe? Letter A. Conversation between a doctor and a patient's mother. Mother. Doctor, what is wrong with my daughter? Doctor. No need to worry. It's just a diarrhea. Mother. What should I do then? Doctor, make sure she drinks lots of water and takes a rest. Do not give her coffee and dairy products for the meantime. Mother, I will. Thank you. Doctor. Letter B. Conversation between an albularyo and a child's mother. Mother. Mang Pedro, why is my daughter in pain? Mang Pedro. A supernatural being likes her. Mother. Please heal her. Mang Pedro. I need to do some rituals for her to get well soon. Mother, okay? Thank you. In order to interpret, you must know first what it means and familiarize yourself on how you can do it. When you interpret, you should be able to explain or convey the message of a certain topic to show that you understand it. You must be an active, attentive listener to do it. This means that you listen not merely to hear what someone says, but to understand what he or she is talking about. You can do so if you have enough vocabulary, if you have the memory to recall your experiences and relate it to the idea, concept that you are listening to, and if you concentrate on the material you are listening to. So, what is being talked here is how you as a student can interpret the idea that you listen to. How can you validate? How can you validate the evidences listened to coming from the material you have heard? So, how are you going to do it? As what is being said here, it would be best that you will become an active or attentive listener for you to be able to interpret and make yourself familiar with the idea that is being conveyed in the material that you listen to. Also, it would be best if you will be activating your vocabularies so that you can easily understand or check the validity of the evidences that you have listened to coming from the material. And another advice here is for you to be able to activate your memory as you make connections with what you already knew. So just like in the lesson that we had, you should be able to make connections. Yes, making connection with yourself, with another text, and with the world. So you should be able to activate your memory on to what you can associate the ideas that you have in the material that you listen to. Okay? So again, in order to interpret, you must know first what it means and familiarize yourself on how you can do it. Okay? So let's have the next slide. In the two conversations above, you will probably believe in conversation A more than B, since in your vocabulary, a doctor is someone who is an expert in his or her field. On the other hand, you may believe in conversation B if you recall an experience in your life that you were once healed by an albularyo. But when it comes to validity, what you listen to from the doctor is more reliable than the other one, since she can explain to the mother what the situation of her daughter is and what to do to make her feel better. Nevertheless, it all depends on the three variables previously discussed on how you will interpret information. So you better be an active listener to not miss any point from someone or any material you are listening to. So, okay? So as we go on dealing with this lesson, judging the validity of validity of the evidences presented in materialism too, you have to activate your knowledge on determining the relevance or truthfulness of ideas presented in materials viewed. So just like in the stories that we read, definitely you would be more convinced on the first conversation, since you have there the presence of a doctor, and the trust rating of a doctor is higher than an albularyo. And of course, just like what is said there, if your vocabulary is rich enough, you know what is the definition of the word doctor compared to the definition of the word albularyo. Okay? So, empowering your vocabulary is a good skill in this lesson, so that the more you can judge the validity of the evidences presented in a material listened to. Okay, so the image there, I have the vocabulary words that can be added in your vocabulary bank, talking about on how you can best describe your friends in your circle of friends. Okay, so again, in the two conversations above, you will probably believe in conversation A because the validity of the evidences presented in the conversations are more reliable compared to the validity of evidences in the conversation B, dealing with the words that were used in the conversation or the characters involved in the conversation. Okay, so let's have the next slide. Learning task 1. Below are the lyrics from the song Reach Out by Take That. If you have internet connection at home, you may listen to the song using the given link. Find out and explain the meaning of the lyrics in each number to be able to interpret the message of the song. Write your answers on pad paper. So of course, you check your Google Classroom for this activity. But let's have the lyrics of the song. Number 1, if our arms were reaching out, if our words could only bridge the doubt, will we lose this chance again? Strange roads with different signs don't even know where we divide. Are you my enemy or my friend? So, how are we going to interpret that first number? If our arms were reaching out, if our words could only bridge the doubt, will we lose this chance again? Strange roads with different signs. Don't even know where we divide. Are you my enemy or my friend? So you have there the first number talking about if the reaching of arms towards that person and making use of words will make that person get the heart of that person, or will win the heart of that person, leading to finding out or figuring out whether that person is a friend or foe. Okay, number two. Because I don't know you and you don't know me. It's the same sun rising. We all just look to the sky. If we try, we can work it out somehow. Again, number two, because I don't know you and you don't know me. It's the same sun rising. We all just look to the sky. If we try, we can work it out somehow. So the title itself is Reach Out. It's given that we do not know the people around us. But what is certain is that we do the same thing. All we have to do is what? To look to the sky simultaneously or do things that are being done the way they should be done by each other, and of course, finding common ground that will make us connected with the rest. Okay. Number three, if you don't know me and I don't know you, how can we be fighting? We're all connected. It's true. Reaching out. It's only love that pulls us through. So if you do not know me and I do not know you, how can we be fighting? So what's the sense of fighting? What's the sense of fighting? We are all connected. All we have to do is to reach out to each other, make each other a friend. And you see, it's true reaching out. It's only love that pulls us through. That there's only one thing that will really make us connected to each other, and that is awakening the love thing in us. Okay, number four. We all we all grieve in different ways. If one tear could wash away the pain, we're all free to have the faith we believed. Yeah, the world sleeps at different times. With one turn, your day is now my night. We all live sharing the air that we breathe. So we just need to have in mind that what? Though, though we what? Though we live in different worlds, but what? Reaching out to each other is what? Is the best way for us to be what? To be as we are, or to live the way we want. So we all grieve in different ways. If one tear could wash away the pain. So would it be possible? Would it be possible that only someone will be washing away the pain? Or it's what? It should be an effort of everybody. We're all free to have the faith we believe. Yeah, it's a matter of respecting one another. So, on reaching out others, we have to show to them that we have the utmost respect for each other. Okay? So the world sleeps at different times. With one turn, your day is now my night. We all live sharing the air that we breathe. So let's just remind ourselves that we are all equal. We are all on equal footing. So no one is above someone. And by thinking that way, then definitely we can reach out to each other. And the last number, reaching out, reaching high, reaching out, touching you, touching me. If our arms were reaching out, if our words could only bridge the doubt. So it will always be the best way for us to reach out, as we make use of words, as we make use of words that will serve as evidence how on how sincere we are on wanting the people around us to be to be our allies or to be our friends. So reaching out, reaching high, reaching out, touching you, touching me. If our arms reaching out, if our words could only bridge the doubt. So all we have to do is to reach out. Let us not confine ourselves being that someone who doesn't want to mingle with other because it will not help us on reaching out the people around us. And of course, as I've said, words are really powerful. We should be good on using words so that what? As what is being said there, if our words could only bridge the doubt. So we can ease the doubt in the minds of the people around us if we will be making use of good words. Just that's why it is mentioned earlier that the vocabulary must be given attention because these words that we will be uttering will serve as the evidences, as the valid evidences on showing how sincere we are with what we uttered to them, dealing with how eager we are to reach out to them. So the words, the vocabulary that we will be using on convincing them that we are really or truly wanting them to be part of our lives will be serving as the evidences for them to know the validity of our sincerity. So we can always judge the validity of the evidences coming from materials we listen to based on or focusing on the words or vocabulary that we use or that are used in the statement that you gave or in the statement listened to by the listeners. Okay? So I hope learning task one, dealing with the song Reach Out by Take That is clear. Hopefully, I was able to provide good explanations for numbers 1 to 5. Okay? So let's have the next activity. Overall, what is the song trying to tell us? Overall, the song is trying to tell us to reach out to the people around us by, of course, by talking to them, by making them that we are all equal, by respecting them. And of course, in the latter part of the song, it tells us that we should be particular with the words that we are going to utter to the people around us so that we will not be offending their feeling. Because as what is said there, the word will what? Will bridge the doubt. So we have to be careful on choosing the words that we will be uttering to the people around us because these words that we will use will serve as their way on judging the validity of the sincerity of ours as we communicate to them or as we utter those words to them. Okay, so we can always check the sincerity of people through the words that they tell us. Okay, that's why judging validity of evidences from materials listened to. So our statements will serve as the material listened to by these people. So we have to be careful with our words because as we do so, then we can reach out to the people around us. Okay? So, done with learning task one. Learning task 2. Here is a transcript of a radio play entitled Sorry, Wrong Number by Lucia Platcher that can be found on pages 240 to 41 of your learning material. If you have a gadget and internet connection, you may find its audio file online and listen to it from 107 to 327. Figure out words in the play by arranging the underlined jumbled letters in the text. Write your answers on pad paper. Sound number being dialed on phone busy signal. Mrs. Stevenson. A querulous, self-centered, neurotic. Oh dear. Slams down receiver dials operator. Operator. Your call, please. Mrs. Stevenson. Operator, I've been dialing Moray Hill post 0098 now for the last 3 quarters of an hour, and the line is always busy, but I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please? Operator, Moray Hill 40098, one moment placed. Mrs. Stevenson, I don't see how it could be busy all the time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day. Operator, ringing Moray Hill 40098. Sound, phone buzz, it rings 3 times. Receiver is picked up at the other end. Man, hello. Mrs. Stevenson. Hello. A little puzzled. Hello. Louder. Hello. Man. Into phone as though he had not heard. Hello. Louder. Hello. Second man. Slow, heavy quality, faintly foreign accent. Hello. First man. Hello. George. George. Yes, sir. Mrs. Stevenson, louder and more imperious to phone. Hello, who's this? What number am I calling? Please. First man, we have heard from our client. He says the coast is clear for tonight. George, yes, sir. First man, where are you now? George, in a phone booth. First man, okay, you know the address. At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer. Be sure that all the lights downstairs are out. There should be only one light visible from the street. At 11:15, a subway train crosses the bridge. It makes a noise in case her window is open and she should scream. Mrs. Stevenson, shock. Oh, hello. What number is this? Please. George. Okay, I understand. Firstman. Make it quick. A little blood is possible. Our client does not wish to make her suffer long. George. A knife okay, sir? Firstman. Yes, a knife will be okay. And remember, remove the rings and bracelets and the jewelry in the bureau drawer. Our client wishes it to look like simple robbery. Learning Task 3. Work in pairs and write a dialogue about one of the topics listed below. When your partner is speaking, you should write down what he or she is saying and vice versa. When you have finished the conversation, check what both of you have written and put them together. Be guided by the rubric below. The following are the possible topics: a conversation between friends about COVID-19, an argument between siblings, or an interview with your parent guardian about education during pandemic. Then there's a sample comic strip having there the dialogues, exchange dialogues by the characters in the comic strip. Okay? So check your Google Classroom regarding this activity and look for the Google Form link. Please be guided by this writing a dialogue rubric. So the criteria are the following conventions. You will get 10 points if there are no grammar, capitalization, spelling, or punctuation errors in the final draft. Clarity. The story is very well organized. One idea or scene follows another in a logical sequence with clear transitions. Creativity. The story contains many creative details and or descriptions that contribute to the reader's enjoyment. And lastly, the dialogue. It is always clear which character is speaking. Dialogue is well developed and varied. So make use of this writing a dialogue rubric as you finalize your dialogue activity or writing activity. Okay? So the total points will be 40 over 40. So check again your Google Classroom regarding this activity. Let us have a quick rundown of what you have learned for today. Listening can be active listening or passive listening. Whenever we say active listening, when you fully focus and understand the message of what is being said or listened to. Passive listening, when you hear someone or something without paying full attention to what is being said or heard. Listening is an integral part of communication. It is important that you are an active listener in order to interpret the information you listen to. Having enough vocabulary, memory, and concentration will really help you to comprehend what is being said by the speaker or what is being conveyed in the material you are listening to. And of course, making yourselves active listeners will help you judge the validity of evidences in the materials you listen to. So, as you listen, the more you will be particular with the details. And being particular with the details, again, will help you judge the validity of the evidences in the material you listen to. Okay? So those are the key learnings that you must have by now at this point of our discussion. Read the following statements on your pad paper. Write AL if the situation pertains to active listening and PL if it shows passive listening. Number one, listening to news on the radio. That is active listening because that's a news. There are details that you have to listen to. Number two, listening to music on your way to school. That is also active listening, especially if you really love the song, then you will be what? Anticipating every word of the song. Okay? But my advice is for you not to do it because it will be dangerous as you walk going to school and you're listening to a certain song with a headphone or earphones, and that is then the music or the song is too loud that you can no longer hear the sounds around you. So it's dangerous, okay? So it's active listening, but again, it's not advisable for you to do as you walk going to school. Number three, talking to your siblings about your dream. Of course, that is what? Active listening. Okay? Talking to your siblings about your dream requires you active listening, especially if your sibling has so many questions. So, in the process of talking to your sibling, then as you keep on answering the questions being raised by your sibling, then that's active listening. Okay? Number four, watching TV while answering the module. It is what? A PL, passive listening. Okay, passive listening, watching TV while answering the module. Okay, then number five, classroom meetings where you have active tasks and duties. Of course, that is active listening. Six, when your little siblings are playing while you are in your room, that is passive listening. Number seven, when your loved one has a serious topic, she would like to talk about it with you, active listening. Number eight, listening to the homily while you are passing by the church to go somewhere. That is active listening if you are really all ears with the homily. And of course, it's given that there's what? There's a long distance that you need to walk before you finally left the church premises. Okay? So that will be active listening because you are listening intently to what is the homily. Okay? The number nine, talking to your parent as you tell them about some sort of battles you are facing. That is what? Active listening. Because as your parents ask questions or as you go on with the conversation, of course, you have to provide feedback. So it will be falling under active listening. Then number 10, listening to a nice friend. Share with you his her latest encounters and sharing your ideas and feelings in return. Of course, that is active listening. So done with this activity. We are now on the reflection part. So reflect on what you learned on this lesson about listening by completing the statements below. Number one, I realized that listening is an integral part of communication. It is important that you are an active listener in order to interpret the information you listen to. And listening can be categorized or classified into two types. It can be active listening, wherein you are fully focused and understand or you fully understand the message of what is being said or listened to, or it can be the passive listening when you hear someone or something without paying full attention to what is being said or heard. Number two, I need to learn more about on judging the validity of evidences from materials listened to. Number three, I still need the help of my teacher in writing the dialogues or in classifying statements whether they belong under active listening or passive listening, especially the confusing ones. Okay, so that would be all for the reflection part. Thank you. Have a good day and God bless us all.